Okay, but I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down.
Larry would sit them down, and one by one, each student in the group would take turns talking about how much they want to self-exit. Eventually, he starts running the Ray family, he calls it, like a boot camp Marines approach. Everyone needs to be the best versions of themselves. Larry slowly convinces them he needs to decide everything for them, for the time being. What they eat, what they do, what they talk about, when they go to bed. I do want to disclaim that these are Larry's words, and they do not represent my thoughts or feelings, clearly. Men will feel better when they start embracing their masculinity. Women will feel better when they embrace their femininity. Some of the girls here need to start wearing makeup more. And men, you guys need to start wearing bright colored polos. Pink, red polos. Everyone blossoms into an incredibly person and wants to have sex. And this is just how humans are. Welcome to Larry's Bootcamp. You know those people that make one thing their entire personality? Listen, I'm not judging them, but Talia's Ray thing is kind of a mood killer. It's kind of a party killer. It doesn't matter who she's with, where she is. It would be in the middle of a frat party, and Talia would be half screaming over the music, "My dad's a truth teller. He's been silenced by a group of powerful, vindictive men. He's been sent to prison for his heroic efforts to save me and my youngest sister from an abusive mother, and his incarceration is the result of a deep-seated government corruption." Everyone in the circle is staring at her frozen. Like, read the room. Talia did not. She would keep going. "My dad used to do push-ups with me sitting on his back, and I would come into the room whenever he was having these meetings, and it didn't matter who it was with or what he was doing. Honey boy," that's what I call my dad, "would let me come on his back whenever I wanted." One of those friends at a party said about Talia, pretty much the first thing and only thing she ever talked about, whenever it was her turn to talk, is "my dad this, my dad that." Even at parties where we're just trying to have fun. Like, that's when it started to get weird. Lawrence Ray, Larry Ray, that's what the Marines would call him, Larry. He was very important as a Marine during his time. He worked hand in hand with the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. He was friends with some of the highest ranking generals in the Marines. So how the hell does this man who works with the DIA, the CIA, the FBI, all the three-letter acronyms, how the hell does he end up in prison? In Slanham Woods 9, an on-campus townhome, there are 8 students living in the 8-bedroom building. The 8 roommates are Talia Ray, aka Larry Ray's daughter, the one who can't stop foaming at the mouth to talk about her dad. The other 7, they're really busy during sophomore year trying to find themselves. Talia Ray already found herself. She already knew what she was going to do with her life. She was going to go to law school and help whistleblowers like her dad. Then you have Talia's best friend, Isabella. She is the complete opposite of Talia. She's not close with anybody else in the house except Talia. And then Santos. Santos is Talia's boyfriend. Everyone describes him as being the puppy of the friend group. And now Claudia. She is a true artist of the friend group. And then Daniel. He's also in Slanham Woods, and so is his girlfriend, Raven. Raven is kind of the unofficial 9th resident. She does not have her own room, but she's always in Daniel's room, so practically she's living there at one point. That makes 5 roommates. There's still 3 more. Gabe, Max, and Juliana. They are not the focal point of today's episode because they'll eventually break away from this group. All because of one question. This is what triggers all of this. This is what starts it all. Guys, do you guys mind if my dad stays with us for a few nights? He's getting out of prison finally, and he needs a place to crash before he finds his own. The 7 roommates and an unofficial roommate, Raven, they're all kind of staring at Talia. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just a few days until he can find his own place. What could possibly go wrong? 50-year-old Larry Ray is not what everyone was expecting. I don't know. You hear Marines, parachuting, doing missions. He sounds like James Bond, so you're expecting James Bond. But he looks like a dad. He has this really strange presence. He honestly looks like he could have been part of the mob. He immediately swings his arm around Isabella, almost startling her. "Thank you for being a friend at all when she needed you." He looks at the rest of the group and smiles. "Now let's make you some real food." That night, they would eat steak for dinner, freshly grilled filet mignon, courtesy of Larry Ray. The first few weeks of Larry Ray in the house, Talia's dad, was honestly nice. I mean, despite the fact that everyone was under the impression that he was just going to stay there until he found his own place, which, I don't know, would probably take like a week or 2 max. If you ignore all of that, it was kind of nice having him in the house. There was always food. Nobody was hungry. The whole place was always super clean when Larry was around. It does take a little bit of a getting used to that Talia calls her dad honey boy and he calls her honey girl, but it's kind of cute after a while, right? Now, Daniel comes home late one night, and the minute he steps into the townhome, he spots the white styrofoam containers that are stacked up in the kitchen. Ever since Larry got here, they always have an endless supply of lasagna and Italian takeout. And as he's walking in, Santos and a few of the other roommates are standing around looking very concerned. Santos turns to Daniel. "It's about Isabella. Sorry, we can't really talk about it, but she's having a really hard time and Larry is helping her. Daniel glances at his watch. It's almost midnight. And he saw Larry go into Isabella's room before he left, which is at the beginning of the day. He's been in there, what, like 16 hours? Larry would stay there the rest of the night. The next day, some of the roommates would walk by Talia's room. The door would be wide open. They would peek their heads in, and inside, Larry and Isabella are sitting on Talia's bed. And Larry would just softly stroke Isabella's hair. And he's whispering in her ear, almost in like a hypnotic pacing, over and over. Nobody's gonna hurt my baby girl. This is his daughter's best friend. Larry naturally becomes the closest to Isabella because this is Talia's best friend and Santos, Talia's boyfriend. Isabella loves being around Larry. I'm just gonna say it like that. But now that Larry's here, Santos finally has someone to listen to him. Larry would just calmly, in this fatherly, very preacher-like voice. Your mother and father did not pay attention to you since as long as you can remember, yes? The drive was to get love and attention from them, and the effect that has on you. You've become uncertain. How did you know? Santos, I know you. Once Larry started having these deep conversations with Isabella and Santos, all the other roommates start noticing the two of them change. I mean, it was pretty drastic. Isabella was a completely new person at this point. She went from using her hair as blackout curtains, like she would just mope around campus. The best word to describe Isabella after Larry is very vibrant. She was just engaged in everything. She seemed fully there now. Larry had two favorite people in the whole world. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor that was one of the most influential Stoic philosophers of all time, and Larry. Those were Larry's two favorite people in the world. The way Larry starts brainwashing the kids is insidiously slow. Nobody even sees it coming. After dinner, the roommates would grab these giant pillows off the couch, throw them on the floor, pile them up, just like this massive cushiony pile. And with their little snacks, Larry would start playing Cosmos on the TV. Their eyes would be glued to the TV, and then suddenly it would go black. Larry would have turned it off, which means it's time for one of his another lectures. Every single person is capable of being and reaching their max potential as long as they get clarity to do so. But none of the kids at Slonim Woods 9 have that right now because their minds have been so cluttered and messed up and filled with all this gunk that's been conditioned to them by their friends, society, and their own family members. Larry would sit them down, and one by one, each student in the group would take turns talking about how much they want to self-exit. Eventually, he starts running the Ray family, he calls it, like a bootcamp Marines approach. Everyone needs to be the best versions of themselves. Larry slowly convinces them he needs to decide everything for them, for the time being. What they eat, what they do, what they talk about, when they go to bed. And again, it's framed like a little mini bootcamp. Do this now, bite the bullet now, suffer now, and you're gonna come out way stronger on the other side. This isn't forever. But there was still one part of their training that Larry hadn't started, and this would be the most important stuff. He would ease them into it. He had them in the palm of his little sticky, moist hands. Side note, I do want to disclaim that these are Larry's words and they do not represent my thoughts or feelings clearly, but just in case. Men will feel better when they start embracing their masculinity. Women will feel better when they embrace their femininity. Some of the girls here need to start wearing makeup more. Got it, Claudia? I'm looking at you. And men, you guys need to start wearing bright colored polos. Pink, red polos, because bright colors means you're embracing and you're secure in your own masculinity. Everyone blossoms into an incredibly person and wants to have sex. And this is just how humans are, but we live in a puritanical society. The only way to be truthful with yourself and reach that level of clarity is to embrace your freedom. Larry tells them the quest for potential begins with sex re-education. Welcome to Larry's Bootcamp. The instructions were very clear. Wear the shortest miniskirt, just the girls. Well, minus his daughter. Do not wear any underwear. Then go to the store, try on heels, bend over, and flash everyone in the store your private parts over and over and over again. That's just step one. There's levels to Larry's re-education camp. The next step is go to the bars. Find someone you think is cute, lure them into the restroom, and perform while taking a video to show as proof for Larry. Now, next, take a cab ride. But when you get to the destination, pretend like you forgot your wallet and ask the taxi driver if there is any other ways to pay, like with sex. This part of the therapy sessions, the intimate relations with strangers, is very important. It's pivotal in the girls' growth as people. If they fail to do it, Larry is not opposed to making them sleep outside and not letting them back into their quarters. It's the shame that he's getting off on. The best way one of the roommates could describe it was, everyone at the beginning thought it was very weird. And then one by one, he would get them alone, have these conversations, and suddenly they're like, oh, he's not so bad, to actually, he's pretty great. Actually, he's saving my life. Actually, he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Actually, I'll never not listen to him. Actually, you, and I'll never listen to you if you talk bad about him. And all of it would happen so quickly. After Slonim Woods 9, the group, Larry, his daughter Talia, her best friend and new girlfriend, Isabella, Talia's now ex-boyfriend Santos, Claudia, and Daniel would move into a one-bedroom apartment on the Upper East Side off campus. Their sleeping arrangements in the apartment were definitely a bit odd. In the bedroom, on a singular king-size bed, would sleep Larry, his daughter Talia, and her best friend and Larry's new girlfriend, Isabella. Everybody else, the entire living room floor was packed with either sofas, blow-up mattresses, or these foldable mattresses just laid out on the ground like a giant bed. But most nights, Larry would kick everyone out of the bedroom, even Isabella and Talia, so he could call his girlfriend in LA. He's got a girlfriend in LA. Felicia, Columbia Med School graduate doing her residency in psychiatry. Larry would get all giddy on the phone to see what Felicia had done the night before, if she had any videos to show him. By this point, Larry has fully brainwashed the students into believing that they're all messed up mentally and they want to self-exit, and the only person that can save them from themselves is Larry. And he's doing this because these kids are his precious daughter's friends. Outside of class, he's controlling every aspect of their lives, what they eat, when they sleep, what they do all day, who they talk to. He started abusing the girls, minus his daughter, forcing them to record themselves having intimate relations with strangers, but eventually he gets involved. The threesomes actually start as twosomes, with Daniel and Isabella, until Larry starts joining in. It just became this reoccurring incident, the three of them in the bedroom and Daniel in these uncomfortable situations. The group therapy sessions would continue in the new apartment, and they actually got a lot more serious. Larry becomes fixated on each person's childhood trauma, how much trauma they must have endured for them to end up so messed up the way they are now. Their brains are scrambled. Even if they insist, nothing really happened in my childhood, truly, like nothing traumatizing. Larry would say, I know deep down, all those vivid assaults, you were essayed, and I know that you're just repressing it. He would tell them what happened to them. Rapid fire. Your parents sold your bodies while you were a child. You were abused by your family members. You blocked it all out because that's what the brain's natural response to heavy trauma is. But that's why you have these intense emotions of wanting to self-exit, because you're different from other kids your age, because you were assaulted. That's why. What can the kids even say? I mean, it kind of made sense. And this guy used to work for the DIA and the CIA. He's seen all sorts of people. He knows way more about the human mind and the psyche than these sheltered college kids can even understand. It would even get to the point where there's a video of this. One of the victims is having a panic attack and she's on her knees crying on his lap while he's just sitting there in a purple robe. His chest hair is practically out. And she's screaming, Larry, please, please save me from myself. Larry, please, please help me, save me from myself. Don't let me do this to myself. Please, please make me stop.
Okay, but I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down.
Interestingly enough, though, these mental health sessions, the interrogations rather, once they served their purpose of making the students believe that they were abused by their family members, which would ultimately isolate them from their family members, and they would mentally be broken beyond repair. They quickly went from, let's talk about our feelings, how can we help this person's mental health, to what did this person do to sabotage the group, huh? Larry starts claiming that not only do all of them harbor deep-rooted trauma that they've blocked out, but now they're acting out, okay? They're sabotaging because they want to harm the progress of all the other members. There's this pan set in Larry's apartment that just keeps over and over again getting ruined. Little hairline scratches, markings, burn marks at the bottom. Larry would call a house meeting, force all the students to sit down. Santos, I have a question for you. Did you damage my property? Larry, I didn't. Now, Santos, I didn't. I don't even remember using. No, you remember. The scratch on there, maybe it was formed when he was putting it away in an accident. What? Or maybe he repressed the memory like he did with all of his trauma. Maybe you're right. No. Yeah, no, you're right. I did do that. And I'm sorry. And now that would be at least $1,800 that you owed Larry. And you never want to be in debt with Larry. $48,000 starting. Larry would have Santos write down a list of everything that he had damaged, and it was practically anything that he came in contact with in the entire apartment. And he would believe it or he would do it because Larry would keep these kids awake for 48 hours at a time. Because remember, he controlled when they sleep and what they eat. Most of the time he was starving them, keeping them sleep deprived, exhausting them with these very long-winded, emotionally draining lectures and therapy sessions where they have to dig into their psyche and come up with these memories that were repressed as them being assaulted as children. They had no mental guards up, no barriers up at this point.
So at that point, he's like, you owe me $48,000.
And Santos is like, okay, I will drop out of college and get a job. He drops out of college to get a job. Larry would force Santos to crawl around the apartment on all fours like a dog. If you brought home food, takeout for the family, and it had gone cold because he sent you to a restaurant that's like 50 minutes away, Larry would accuse you of trying to sabotage everything that he's done and add that to your debt. $1,000 for emotional distress. He would grab you by the face and slam you onto this ground. By this point, everybody was too scared to leave, but also they felt grateful that after every horrible, traumatic thing that they did and went through as kids, why would anyone want to be around them? Why would anybody want to help? They were just thankful that Larry saw potential in them. The second Felicia, Larry's girlfriend from LA, steps into the one-bedroom apartment crammed with all these people living there, she can't help but feel like, I'm a Harvard, Columbia-educated physician who already started her psychiatric training. I'm going to be living in the whole apartment with these other people's crap everywhere. And because of tight spaces or whatever reason Larry is coming up with, Felicia finds out the day she moves to New York City that she's not going to be sleeping with her boyfriend alone. She said, and I'm sleeping with Larry and this other woman, Isabella. It's going to be the three of us in the bedroom, me, Larry, and Isabella. He did not allow us to sleep with clothes on. So we're all just naked in the bed. And Larry would sleep in the middle, face up. Isabella and I are on each side. Isabella sleeps with her hand on his genitals. This is supposed to be my boyfriend. And then I'm sleeping with him and this girl has her hand all up on his stuff, and I'm just supposed to be okay. Larry would be like, oh, she's just more comfortable that way. I'm helping her through trauma. What's the big deal? Aren't you a smart, educated, liberated woman? The whole situation wasn't ideal. Felicia noticed how strange the actual apartment was. Not just their sleeping arrangements, but the fridge and freezer were padlocked. The only ones that could access food were Larry and Isabella. Talia had moved out by this point to make room for Felicia. But still, there was no door handles on the bathrooms. I mean, you can't even fully shut it. Even if you manage to hold the door closed somehow, all someone has to do is bend down and stick their face into the gaping hole to see what you're doing. There was no privacy anywhere. Felicia moves in a few weeks away from taking her exam, where she would become a fully licensed medical doctor. This would be the beginning of everything falling apart. Once she settles in, Larry takes her documents, the ones from residency that are very important for her future. He tears them up and throws them 150 feet out the window. And now she's stuck sleeping in the same bed as her boyfriend and a woman named Isabella, while her little brother, Santos, is sleeping on the floor in the living room. Felicia Rosario, Larry's girlfriend from LA, the Harvard and Columbia med school graduate, is Santos's oldest sister. All three Rosario siblings, Felicia, the Harvard grad, Yalitza, the Columbia University student, and Santos, the Sarah Lawrence student, would all get brainwashed by Larry Ray. He would deprive them of sleep for multiple nights, put them through these 36-hour-long interrogations before convincing them that their parents were pure evil. They used to be incredibly close with their parents before Larry. Felicia would talk to her mom at least once a day, but now the siblings refused to talk to their parents. $200,000. That's how much the siblings would get from their parents to give to Larry. Because they owed Larry for property damage and for all these things that he claimed that they did to him. At one point, he accuses them of trying to poison him. And the Rosario siblings feel like it's not even money that their parents should have. It's money. It's money. Of course they deserve it and need to give it back to Larry because they're trying to kill Larry because he knows what they're doing. Their parents, they sold their house. They sold their house to pay this money for their kids. They looked so desperate. They flew back to the Dominican Republic to get loans, to beg friends for money. Yalitza said she wasn't thinking about her parents at that point because they were evil to her. All she thought was, maybe if we can just get some money for Larry, he'll love us again. Maybe it'll be enough this time. Maybe we still have a chance to be happy. That would not happen because Felicia starts descending into madness. It's been described as a regression into a childlike state. There's multiple video clips. It's heavily documented. Even when she was still in LA, there's an audio clip of Larry harassing her on the phone, convincing her that there's scary, powerful people out there that are going to come get her. He took sick pleasure in ripping apart her life that she sacrificed everything for.
And I will show you that I can still behave.
Felicia,
Yes.
you can shut it.
Soon after this, Larry would force her to send an email to the dean of Columbia Medical School, the dean of the school that she graduated from. The email reads, I graduated from Columbia with a medical degree in 2011. I'm writing today to have my degree revoked as I am in serious violation of the Hippocratic oath that I took upon graduating. I've been intentionally, maliciously, and fanatically out to hurt others and destroy their lives as much as I can. I've done nothing but shameful and hurtful things, especially to the people who have most cared for me. He made her send that, and every single day, he would hold the videos that he forced her to take of herself having relations with strangers. He would throw them in her face and tell her, I will put this on the internet. I will personally send this to the medical licensing board and you will never practice medicine again. You think I don't know people in powerful places? I know almost all the top general surgeons at all the top hospitals. I personally know the Dean of Columbia. I was a CIA informant. Are you kidding me? I knew Gorbachev. These little videos were like Larry's little trophies. One night, Larry would slam open the window to the 15th floor apartment. He's holding a hammer and screaming at Santos. Look, it's very simple. You leap like a frog. Why don't you guys, you and Felicia, hold hands and jump together? It'd be so cute. Do you know how cute that would be if you both jumped? It'll be over in a second. In total, Larry's victims would attempt to self-exit at least 12 times during their time with Larry. But Daniel would get out after graduating because he had been trying to understand his for a very long time when he was with Larry. And Larry, knowing that, on Thanksgiving Day, would force Daniel to put on one of Isabella's mini dresses, go downstairs in front of people, walk around, and then when he got back up, Larry was red in the face, mad at Daniel for whatever other thing that he forgot to do. And he would taunt, look at yourself, Danny. How does it feel to wear a dress? Are you still confused about your huh? Look at yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know. He would tell Isabella to grab one of her biggest intimate toys that she had. She always had like this duffel bag of intimate toys that she kept around the house. And he would say, give it to Danny. Now, Danny, let's settle this once and for all. You're going to place that you know where. And if you like it, we'll know you're gay. Simple enough, right? That night, Daniel was forced to do things with the device while wearing a dress. Things he clearly did not consent to, all the while his friends were forced to watch. And Larry was taking photos of him. Claudia would later say about that picture that Daniel is staring right into the camera. His eyes, he looks panicked. His eyes are questioning. He's very scared. She said, it's not a look I've ever seen on someone's face before. But 6 years later, April 2019, a New York magazine article would go viral titled, The Stolen Kids of Sarah Lawrence. Daniel realized his friends did not get out soon after. It got so much worse. In the next 6 years. The New York Magazine expose on Larry Ray and his college cult starts off by exposing Larry's long list of lies. First, Larry's whole identity, his whole personality was based on being a Marine. He created these little Marine-based operations around the house. Their morning routine was supposed to be a boot camp, but Larry was never in the Marines. He did serve in the military, the Air Force, for a total of 19 days before he was dishonorably discharged for reasons unknown. But not all of Larry's lies were straight up lies, like the Marines one. He knew a lot of the top generals in the Marines. He was friends with them. So there was truth. I don't know how he was friends with them, but he was.
What?
Yeah. The article states what made Larry exceptional is the way he expertly mixed connections to top officers in the U.S. Marine Corps with lies and embellishments. So it was always a half-truth, half-lie. He would say he met Gorbachev, and you're like, that's crazy, you're a little liar. And then he would show you a picture with him having dinner with Gorbachev, meeting other people with Gorbachev, with Rudy Giuliani with Gorbachev. Larry did know Rudy Giuliani, Bernie Kerik, the New York police commissioner, and even Gorbachev. He did receive a letter from NATO about his efforts to help negotiate the end of the Kosovo War. He just lied about how involved he was. His impact was minimal. The article, Stolen Kids of Sarah Lawrence, would get the attention of the NYPD Crimes Unit and the FBI, but by then, it would be too late. Larry was no longer living in the one-bedroom apartment, accusing college kids of breaking his oven. He would start a multi-million-dollar trafficking ring catering to the wealthy elite businessmen in New York City. And one of the cult members will not make it out alive. And I will discuss all of that in part 2.